Hey everyone, I just arrived in Paris airport for the official n8n starter session. What is n8n starter session? It's a 4-hour workshop experience where we go around the world and we teach people n8n, the very basics of it, like literally from signing up to getting the very first workflow rolling, and even to the level that they learn how to build a workflow that is kind of like has a very day-to-day use case. And they go home with a lot of content, not only from the learnings of the workshop in the day, but also get a lot of study material and also n8n's coupon. So we provide like 6 weeks of pro account if you join in person. The workshop is going to happen tomorrow. Today I'm in Paris. This is workshop number 3 of 7 that we are going to have in the world tour round number 1. We were in Amsterdam and then in Barcelona, in San Francisco. Actually, it's number 4. So now it's Paris. Next would be Frankfurt, New York City, and then London, and then we'll have another round and another round and another round. So if you are in Paris, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you. If not, some of them will be streamed online. This is going to be streamed online as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some of you guys tomorrow online or in person. And let's go check out the nice Paris airport and Paris city. See ya. Guys, look at this. This is not an airport. This is just a station in Paris. And it's huge. It's near to my brother-in-law's apartment where I'm gonna stay. And look what I'm doing now. Despite the fact that I was super busy in the past multiple months doing all these workshops, I'm now taking things seriously. So I'm listening while going to this amazing speaker, n8n. He's a coach. He's a vocal coach, so he teaches people how to kind of like do speaking and become better teachers and so on. So I'm taking my game seriously, and now I'm trying to learn how to speak better, how to get a little bit serious with my workshop game. And I'm even thinking about getting his paid classes and so on, and also get a little bit serious about my business of coaching and so on. And I'm lost. I need to follow exit signs, and I'm having trouble finding the exit signs. I think I'm in the right place, but I just need to make sure that I am not lost again. So yeah, what I was trying to say is, as much as you think of creating like value for your workshops, if you are doing workshops, especially with this last workshop I did in Amsterdam University, the focus of that entire workshop, or that series that I'm yet to publicly announce on my YouTube channel, is something that is entirely focused on running a workshop. To be honest, I'm not a professional workshop host. I just happen to be there and I'm doing it, and people like it because I'm having this engaging conversations and so on. And what I'm trying to do now next is level up my game. With all these world tours that I'm having for bringing AI agents education and AI education to the world through these official n8n starter sessions. At the same time, I want to educate myself. I want to learn things. So if you guys know a good coach, especially if it's in Berlin, if it's someone whom I can meet in person to level up my game of workshops, I would love to be connected with them. So please let me know if you know someone. And let's go to the next clip of the behind the scenes of Paris visit for official n8n tour around the world. Alrighty, finally I found the exit. So now I'm on the street. This was a huge train station. I just got out of the train station. It's not my first time being in Paris. I used to come here a lot because I had a couple of clients. Once when I was doing a blockchain project, I came here a couple of times, and multiple times when I had I was the director of engineering in a scale-up, a $300 million funded company, and I was also coming to Paris almost every second month or so. So finally, I'm out of this amazing place, and you can see this is Paris, and Paris is amazing. Paris has been always one of the cool destinations that I wanted to be a part of, and luckily my brother-in-law lives here, so it's something that I enjoy being always. So let's have a quick walk before I find my brother-in-law. By the way, this is not just an n8n tour, it's also the city tours that I'm going to give you guys. One of those that you can find on YouTube that gives you the city tour. And I've never thought about doing these kind of video contents, but I'm happy to do this. I'm super blessed to be taking AI education to the world with this kind of format. So one thing I would like to emphasize on is like the n8n tour, this thing that we're doing right now, is about bringing the awareness of n8n. Like you can find a lot of YouTube tutorials around the world, a lot of n8n ambassadors and a lot of cool content creators are putting a lot of cool and really digestible step-by-step tutorial series that makes a lot of sense to learn it from your sofa. But the reason that we're taking all this hustle and going around the world and doing this like 4-hour workshops, for these 4-hour workshops we spend like a lot of time traveling and doing all these logistics and so on, and it's also expensive. The reason is that we want to spark one idea in that 4 hour in the brain of a lot of people joining in person or also in these online sessions, so that they can go in and teach others this amazing technology. Because once you start using it, you will start noticing that if I can automate this one thing, automatically it will trigger a cascade effect, a domino effect, that you will start automating a whole lot of things. And I think it's an amazing technology. So you will see some of the recordings of tomorrow's workshop, and I hope you will also agree that it's an amazing technology. So see you in the next clip. When I was running my startup VoiceKit, VoiceKit was generative AI agent startup. We started in 2023 and 2024. We had to liquidate it due to lack of funding. It was a voice AI agent for in-car user experience. And what we built there was amazing, like the infrastructure and everything. But I needed, like, as a small startup, you can imagine, like, only going through Techstars, a little bit of money in the bank. You can't hire a lot of engineers. So I wanted to take all the backend architecture and then put it on somewhere, either on Zapier or on Make.com. And I meet the sales team of Make.com, and I get to know that for the white label solution, I have to pay like 50,000 euros per year as a license fee. And I know this startup in Berlin that does something similar. I'm following their story since early 2019, because same city mates, fellow entrepreneurs. I just Google even I don't remember their name, to be honest. It's sometimes mid 2023. And then I just Google n8n, not n8n, I Google Make.com alternative, and I find n8n. And I start poking things around. I fork it, I put it on my local machine, I check it, works perfectly fine for my use cases, integrating all the backend architecture with the voice interface that I have built. And I start poking things around with it since 2023. What I really loved seeing in n8n story is the way they evolved in the past couple of years. With the AI agent node, this was a big breakthrough. When I checked it again in sometimes December 2024, January 2025, before I jumped headfirst into producing a lot of content about n8n, giving a lot of workshops about n8n, I didn't know the AI agent node. When I opened it, and I was like, wow, this is exactly what I was doing in VoiceKit with all like high code, like writing code, Node.js, serverless architectures for this. And I remember when we were writing the backend for VoiceKit, early 2023, there was no function calling. So we were asking ChatGPT 3.5, you can imagine. It was crazy. So we were prompting ChatGPT, and then when the response would come, we would run a lot of regex and then extract the JSON output. And we would prompt engineer it so much that, hey, please respond only in JSON, don't put any extra characters, don't give me any other output. And since then, we kept building it. And then when I opened in January 25 to prepare for my workshop, and I see this platform is a totally different thing than I know it from 6 months ago. And I was like, I'm gonna go all in for this platform. So long story short, it's 26th of February. I go in a room, I don't know anything. It's an amazing story. I see like 40 people trying to learn AI agents, trying to learn what is an AI agent. And we build a voice AI agent using VAPI, and I teach them the very basics of n8n and they sign up, and we use GCP, consent screen, and all the basic configurations of n8n. It's a big day now. We are going live in just about a few minutes. It's an amazing co-working space. Let me take you guys to the co-working space. Look how
Bonjour, welcome everybody. Hello Paris and online. Thank you so much for joining the official n8n starter sessions here in Paris. I'm Christian. I'm co-founder and CEO of Avenai. We are an n8n expert partner. We're really excited to be here with you today. As I mentioned, this is the official n8n Starter Tour. You are our fourth stop. We were in San Francisco last week, so really pumped about being here and continuing the journey. Frankfurt next week. We'll also be in Berlin at the builder session with n8n, and really looking forward to here today. I'm not by myself. Actually, this turned out to be a big group of also n8n folks here with you today. We have Amal, who will introduce himself later when he kicks off the event and building the workflows. And we have a number of n8n folks here today. If you want to raise your hand, we got Oog, Adeline, Emilio, Manuel, Lucas, and Paul. So welcome. About today. What are we going to achieve today? So this is a beginner sessions. So if you're an expert on n8n already, then maybe this is the wrong session, but I hope you're going to have fun anyways. So please stay. We're going to walk through the basic concepts of n8n, tell you about what n8n is, how to use it, and how to benefit from it. And you're going to walk away with maybe your first self-built workflow automation and an AI agent. So very exciting. And I hope it doesn't stop there, or we hope it doesn't stop there. We hope it's going to inspire you, ignite something, and you're going to continue building more and more automations. And then for the people in Paris, unfortunately not online, unless you've got your own bottle of wine maybe, we'll have some food and drinks after the session, so we can continue the fun and network and answer many more questions you might have. Just briefly an agenda. We'll do a quick intro to who and what is n8n before we go into some of the essentials around what are nodes, how do you connect them, how to integrate AI into n8n, and then have a short break before we go into building, which is hopefully your very first AI agent. And then it's kind of open floor, Q&A, have food and drinks, and hopefully a lot more fun. So what is n8n? What's all the buzz about? So n8n is a workflow automation tool that uniquely combines business process automation with AI and flexibility of code with the speed of no code. And so I'm sure you've all had your ChatGPT moment, the first prompt, the amazing answers you got that kind of blew you away. Automation, very similarly, has a lot to offer. I may not look like it, but I've been in automation for almost 20 years, got a few gray hairs. But I think today, the time has never been more exciting to work in automation, because the combination of the power of AI with business process automation is absolutely exciting. And so you can achieve a lot more. However, I'm sure lots of you have seen that, whether it's at home or most probably at your workplace, there's lots of red tape, complications, siloed applications, things that aren't connected. And so that makes it very difficult to do automation and integrate things. But fortunately, that's why we've got n8n. So n8n serves as like the glue between your apps, the integrations, and helps you really build automations and agents across your entire stack. And it's super flexible, so you can be very specialized, you can integrate code, but you don't have to. It gives you the no-code ability, and that makes the things a lot easier. And last but not least, it's absolutely enterprise ready. So whether, as I said, you use it at home, or also in your workplace, it's ready to be there and automate. As I said, it's no code, so out of the box, n8n comes with over 1,000 nodes and connectors. If your tool is not in here, don't worry. It's got HTTP requests, and that can basically do anything else. So the sky's not the limit, it's just the beginning. And what does it all do? Like, what's the outcome? So we've highlighted here 3 case studies that really show you, when we go into the machine room of n8n in just a minute, what does that mean for a business? What does that translate to in terms of value? And it's, as you can see from the numbers, pretty impressive. And with that, no more slides. I'm ready over to Amal to start the action. Thank you very much, and welcome again.
All right, so the first demo we're going to run is something like this. We're going to build this entirely step by step. As I already explained, what it does is when I click this, it goes and grabs some data from an API, and then it keeps pushing it into this Google Sheet one at a time. We'll go in 2 steps, basically, when we build this particular workflow. We will not use loop in the very first step, and then we will use loop, so that you guys get to know what exactly loop is and what is it used for. That's the workflow number 1 that we're going to work on and build. The second workflow that we're going to build looks something like this. What it does is it basically allows you to create emails and Google Calendar entries literally with natural language. So I'm using a dictation tool on my computer. Now what you're going to see is not part of n8n. It's just an extra software sitting in my computer running and doing the dictation. So it's called Super Whisper. A lot of people ask me, like, what is that you're running? It's so cool. I want to have one. It's free. You can also have, can you please compose an email to a draft email to Chris and mention that I'm stuck in a traffic and I will be 20 minutes late for the workshop. Please keep the crowd warm. I'm sorry, it's very bad traffic today. Imagine if I'm using it while driving, just old memories of VoiceKit. And based on your intent, literally by the text that I have created here, an email is created in the draft folder, and then you can literally go and send it over if needed. So you can see that the email is talking about running late, 20 minutes, and traffic with this email signature. And you'll get to know how to do all of that in just a minute. Come on. The third demo we're going to do is this one, as I already showed you guys. So depending on what kind of slip you have, I have a very tiny one from the credit card thingies. I'm going to give this as an example, but this is how it looks. So I have this tiny little slip. Anyone has a bigger slip if they wanted? Yeah, a coffee or something. Yeah, that's nice. And that's good. It's yeah. Can you give me that? Let's give it a nice try. Yeah. So let's see. I'm gonna see if it's gonna work. It's from the crowd. I don't know. If it fails, it's not my failure. It's Mistral AI's failure because it cannot read it. Okay, so let's see if it works. It's really cool. So I'm gonna pull my Google Drive, and I have an invoice folder here. And if I put that scanner, it scans something. Now I'm gonna scan it. It just did the scanning. This is a feature of Google Drive, just so that you know, you can crop it and you can change the cropping, so on. So I will go as it is. I will just click save. There's a save button. I'll just click on the save button. It will upload it on Google Drive. There's an upload button. When I upload it, then it's going right now through the n8n workflow, this n8n workflow. Now, I'm going to trigger this n8n workflow manually. You'll get to know it later because it fetches those new slips every minute, but now I kind of like forced to fetch it. And then it just got that one in place. And if anyone wants to double check this, if the OCR was good, I don't speak French. So that was that's the from Café de la Maria. Yeah. And that is the date and time. It is
76 December 17.
Yeah. Exactly. And sale of coffee and beverages items.
Exactly.
And 13.1 euro. And also the actual short description in French, I think. Yeah. Yeah, and also that PDF file that was scanned that worked like this. So we're going to build that as the third workflow. Alrighty, there was a question in the room at the back row, in the back row. As I said, n8n is an amazing open source project, community driven. 138,000 GitHub stars. For those of you who do not know what it means, well, actually 39,000. Since yesterday, we got 1 more 1,000 GitHub stars. This is growing super fast. If you guys know TypeScript, TypeScript has 106,000 GitHub stars, and this is way more than that. TypeScript is a programming language. And the interesting thing about this is it started with one person, like Jan Ubauze, kudos to this visionary who started it in 2019 as a single man show, brought this amazing project to the world. By its size, it's gigantic. I counted the lines of code. It is 1.1 million lines of code. Somebody asked me, did you count it manually? I said yes. No, there was a software. And from any metrics that you pick this project, it is amazing. It's open source with a fair code policy on it. Fair code is also a concept that Jan Ubauze, the CEO and founder of n8n, brought forward to the world along with Kenneth Malik. And the idea of fair code is basically don't compete with n8n. It's not fair. So you can go and put a business out there in the world and charge people 20 euros a month for this kind of package. Instead of 2,500 workflows, you give 5,000 workflows and you compete directly with n8n. So that's not allowed. But other than that, if you go and copy this code and put it on your infrastructure, especially when you do really need it for enterprise, obviously you need to go through the enterprise deal, but you will put it on your own infrastructure. That means you put it on your own servers. Your IT department will copy this code and put it there. This is basically called a canvas. And there are some control buttons here. There is a button in here which we will get to know in a minute in great detail. You can switch the mode from editor to execution to evaluation. Editor is this workflow mode that you basically build things in here. Execution is the amount of times that this workflow was executed. Imagine if you have a program, you run a program, execution means the same. And evaluations is the part for kind of like testing your workflows. You want to make sure that your workflow runs the way it should run. That's evaluations. This little toggle button puts your workflow in the active mode. By default, it is inactive. When it is in active mode, that means it's running in the background, and then it can do things, which we'll see in a minute. All right, so I'll collapse this. I don't need it. I'll explain what is the first step. Like, the first step you add is called a trigger. A trigger is basically one of many options that you have in n8n that can trigger the workflow to execute. So it will start the execution of this workflow. We will see other triggers in just a minute. I would like you guys to click on this trigger called trigger manually. Please click on that. Okay, now you will see one thing here. You have a click trigger. Please pay attention here. There is a small flash sign that indicates that this is a trigger. And later on, you'll see the other nodes have like different corners, and the triggers usually have a corner like this. So that's how you know it. So I will paraphrase your question because there is no microphone yet with you, which we'll do the logistics in a minute. The question is, how about privacy? If I authenticate n8n on my Gmail inbox, on my Google Drive, n8n can read everything. So the simple answer to that is, how do you authenticate other apps? When you have a Calendly, you know what's a Calendly? It's a calendar scheduling tool. So when you are authenticating Calendly, it's the same thing. So the authentication is encrypted. It's sitting there, and also based on the ethics and the SLAs and the contracts of these companies, they don't really read your emails, or at least they should not. It's a legal question, to be honest. It's the same technical detail that you do a Calendly authorization and authentication. And when it comes to the self-hosted version, all your authentication tokens, which kind of like authorizes that one server n8n Cloud to request data from your Gmail instance and then put it into somewhere on n8n Cloud, you can get that and put it on your own servers. So it never goes to n8n server. So for enterprise level grade, it is on their own bare metal servers or on their own cloud infrastructure, be it Microsoft Azure or AWS or Google Cloud Platform. So therefore, the privacy or the authentication is out of the question. There's no problem in privacy and authentication of n8n instances. It's just the same system that is for the rest of the things, including your bank. So as secure as your bank is, that's how secure an n8n instance is. So now you will see, if you click on this execute workflow button, two things happened. You saw a green check mark here and an item in there. What does it mean? It means that this particular node, which is of a type trigger, was executed, it ran, And it also says that, hey, there, the result of this n8n node returned one item. We'll see what is that one item in just a minute. So now if you double click on this, you'll see certain settings here. We'll come back to this in a minute. Okay, so now when you go back to Canvas, you have this plus button here. And what does this plus button do? Is it allows you to create new nodes. It allows you to add new nodes. What is a node in here? We say like n8n stands for nodemation. It's kind of like the 8 characters in between. We got it. That's how we made n8n. But what is a node in this instance? A node is basically one of these little boxes. So these boxes that you see here, this is called a node. If you click on this plus sign, as Chris was mentioning, we have over 1,000 nodes or 1,000 connectors. You get a search box that you can pick one of those 1,000 connections. So in here, please type HTTP request. So please type HTTP request. And I'll explain a whole lot of things once you do that. And then click on it. And then you should end up in this screen. Now, please go to that Google document that I shared previously. And from there, I just listed users API. There's a link. Try to open that in your browser. And you should see something similar to this. Maybe you don't see it formatted like this, but there's some pieces of code. It's called JSON. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. And this is a format in which n8n basically processes data. And it's also a very standard format in order to represent data between two systems when you're using a so-called API. API stands for Application Programming Interface. What is API? It's basically a protocol or a way for two systems to communicate with each other. There is a company called JSON Placeholder, and they provide this kind of a file. And that's what we are using right now. So we get this URL. Now let's go back to your workflow and just paste that URL that I copied in Google Docs right in the URL field. And then click on Execute Step.
Are the nodes automatically saved, or do you have to?
Good question. The question is, if you are on the canvas and you're changing things on the canvas, do you have to save those nodes, or does it happen automatically? So the answer to that question is simple. It doesn't save it automatically. It basically allows you to save it. The autosave is not there by choice, by design, so that it doesn't save a broken workflow for you. Yes?
Do you have a desktop version, or it's only cloud-based?
It's only cloud, yeah. The question was nice. Do you have a desktop version? No, we have only a cloud version. All right, another question. Yes?
How is it better than Zapier?
How is it better than Zapier? What's Zapier? I'm just joking. I can't make it with Zapier. To be honest, only the open source feature of Zapier versus n8n wins the race already. It's out of the conversation when you compare the two. But let's compare them logically. Zapier is a very old technology. It has over 5,000 integrations, but that should not be the argument that it has 1,000, it has 5,000, therefore it's better. You have to see it from this perspective that Zapier is basically a very old way of, it's a better if this than that. If you know IFTT, Zapier is a better if this than that. It's an evolution of the product set as happened over time. And n8n is a native, AI native platform where you can build native AI agent or AI workflows. And the configurability of n8n is way, way better than Zapier. Now, coming to the point about open source fair code, you can put this on your own platform. You can do it on Zapier. So with that argument, n8n is a much better choice when it comes to enterprise-grade AI automation. So please click on that execute button. You should see a response like this. This is exactly the same response that you saw here when you opened that URL in your browser. So what happened right now in here is very interesting. If we go quickly on a little whiteboard session. So we had n8n cloud running here. And there was a server called JSON placeholder, a website. We did a so-called HTTP request. We did an HTTP request. And what came back to us was in an HTTP response some data. That's basically a very simple diagram showing an HTTP request and response cycle. So with only just a few clicks, we connected two different systems, and the data that was exchanged between them, the request went, and then some JSON data came back to n8n. And that's this JSON data that you see here. At the end of this, this workshop, I'll share some study material. In one of them, you will find out how to read and write JSON. So don't worry, it's just a notation on how to represent data. Now click on this back to canvas, please. And now what you see in front of you is two nodes. One node having a corner like this, which is a trigger. One node having a corner like this, which is a normal node. And if you double click this node, you will see that you have in here a setting on the left and then an output on the right. And that output can be switched between these three formats, which we'll see in a minute. And it is throwing away one item. And the next one is throwing away 10 items. What's that 10 item? If you double click this one, you will see that the setting of this screen is a little bit different. It has an input and it has an output based on these settings. It generates that output. And those 10 items are the amount of items that this API returned. So each item inside that API is one person's biodata. If you click on this table, please click on this table, you'll see that there are 10 items of personal information there, fictitious personal information. Okay, that's nice. Now, what I want to do next is take that information and then put it somewhere on a Google sheet. But before doing that, it's a lot of information. I want to only carry out certain pieces of information, like let's say name, username, email, and phone number. So please click on this plus button again, and then in here, type edit. And then put this edit fields or set. Click on this. Once you do that, then you see this area where you can drag and drop something. What's that coming from? Make sure that you are on this schema field. You can also do it with the other tabs, but the schema is a little bit easier to digest and understand. Grab the name and then drag and drop it here, like this. Grab it and then drag and drop it right inside this box. And do the same thing with username and phone number. That should be it. And then click on execute. So those are the steps you need to take. Okay, so meanwhile, let's go back to the questions. Any other questions?
What's the difference between n8n and make?
So the question is, what's the difference between n8n and make.com? The same comparison can apply here as I compare it with Zapier. It's open source, that's not. It's self-hosted, that's not. It's much cooler, that's not. Sorry, it's just me saying it, not officially n8n saying it. But the actual comparison you can do it is like literally spend 2 weekends. 1 weekend spend on n8n, 1 weekend spend on make.com. You will feel the difference. You don't need to read any articles. Because now, once the API rate limit is off, you create your first workflow. The second workflow, it will come automatically to you. It's so natural, it's so nicely done, n8n, that the UX is so cool. Like you need to understand 2-3 windows, 2-3 concepts, and then you can start building things. And also, it starts from this low code, no code, but you can also go deep code with this. Like you can have a code node and write code. And you can have HTTP requests and then do something outside in your entire microservice architecture and then run one piece of your technology somewhere else. So therefore, in my opinion, the comparison is not apple-to-apple comparison. Therefore, I don't know how to compare it exactly, especially because of this fair code, open code technology. All right, yes, please. The question is there a maximum number of nodes that we can have? No, you don't have any maximum, but do not have a lot of nodes on one canvas because that's an anti-pattern. Imagine if you are, by show of hands, who is a programmer in the room? Okay, so around 10% of people are programmers in the room. It's the old school programming concept that do not write a single file with a lot of lines of code. Imagine lines of code is like your nodes and a file is your canvas. So the more smaller, the more separation of concerns you have. That means like multiple workflows using one workflow and then a sub workflow and then sub workflow, and then logically it has an hierarchy. That's a much better approach than the actual way of doing it. Yes, please. The question is, can I put workflows together? Yes, there's a concept called sub-workflows. You can create a workflow, a parent workflow, that calls a child workflow and then passes some parameters to that child workflow, and then it can execute that sub-workflow with that data. Yeah, so, okay. So the question is, how fast is n8n? It's as fast as any cloud service. How fast a workflow can run is dependent on what is happening in that workflow. So if, for example, if it's we'll see the speed and execution of everything once the server is up again. There we go, the server is up. You'll see that it's in milliseconds. It's like 200, 300 milliseconds. So it's super fast, especially on the n8n cloud. But the actual workflow can take a lot of time. Some workflows can take like multiple minutes or multiple hours, depending on what's happening inside the workflow. So now you click on that execute step, it goes on, and then you see all these items. What changed is, now click on this JSON on the left side as well. What changed is that you see these little curly brackets. That contains one piece of information, it's repeating. And now here we had a lot of information, address and email and blah, blah. Now we get only that much information. All right. Now, please click on back to Canvas, and we are here. Now the next step is we're going to dump this information in a Google Sheet. So please click on this plus button, and then type here Google Sheets. Click on Google Sheets. Okay. Now, in here, you have quite a bit of options. What option do you need to pick is very important. What we want to do is append the result of this, like all these 10 items. We want to append it in, append a row in a sheet, in sheet. Click that item, please.
Don't want to update them.
Pardon?
The first one you don't want to even update, have the option
Yeah.
to update them, right?
Yeah, just append it at the end of the workflow. Now, in here, we'll need to pick a Google Sheet. So therefore, let's go into Google Sheets. Open a new Google Sheet, please. Make sure that you are opening the Google Sheet with the exact account that you're integrating it with, so that you don't have two Google accounts and then you create the Google Sheet in one account and then the actual one in the other one. So here I created a Google Sheet. I'm going to call it, so make sure that the email address that you're using for creating the Google Sheet is exactly the email address that you're going to use in n8n in order to authenticate. We'll do the authentication in just a minute. So please write down the name of it, kind of like user list, or users, let's say. And then put these column names that we're going to bring from here. So what column names we're going to bring? It is the name, username, phone number. So type here name, username, and then phone. And make it bold so that it's the first row and then it looks nicer. Adley? So the question is, how many workflows can you execute at the same time? You can execute as many as you want or you need. So in parallel, for example, you have, let's say, 10 different workflows. And each of those workflows can run at the same time because they run in different computers on the cloud. Now, the same workflow, how many instances can it run? From this execution tab in a minute, you'll see that you can actually trigger multiple workflows at the same time. So same thing, like multiple workflows can run independently, and each workflow can run new instances literally in milliseconds away from each other. So you can bombard an n8n workflow with triggers almost in, it might be exaggerated if I say milliseconds, but let's say hundreds of milliseconds. Yes?
What is the limits of the workflows getting what can n8n can really do, like about the complexity most of the workflow, because n8n is just like sending emails or like extra text?
That's a very good question. The question, if I understand it correctly, is what is the complexity level, like what kind of nodes n8n has, and what's the most complex thing that you can build with n8n? Nice, that's a very good question. So the second part of the question was like, if I have a data set of 2 million rows, can it be processed with n8n? Absolutely, yes. I think those are the real use cases of n8n to be put in practice. So imagine if you have this Let's take this example seriously. So if you have 2 million rows here in any form, let's say it's sitting in a CSV file or in a database or wherever, you pull it inside n8n, okay? How can you pull it? There are a whole lot of different ways to do it. Let's assume you're pulling it with a so-called webhook. What's a webhook? I will quickly explain that. So when you create a trigger, you can put a webhook, and that webhook has a URL. So you send your data to webhook. You don't send all 2 million of these rows in one go. You send it one at a time. You fire it one at a time, kind of like a pipeline. And then all of these n8n items that come here inside this n8n workflow. Now, this particular n8n workflow can have whatever you wish it to do. For example, you want to do these 2-3 steps, or these steps can also be done in a parallel. So this item calls, let's just make an example here. So for example, this one calls, this one node calls the next node calls the next node, and so on. And this is also a nice concept that you can have like these two parallel executions going on. So this, for example, was a trigger. This was a webhook, for example. And then there was an if condition, for example, sending the workflow or the logic in two different ways. And this execution of this will end up having like 2 million times executed. So you hit those 2 million rows here, and then on the other side, perhaps you're putting it inside, let's say, a Supabase database or a MySQL or Postgres and so on. Yes? Yes. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Like you can clean data in here kind of like as an orchestration layer and then put it anywhere else. So n8n has its own stores, but right now you can go in and put anything. Like here you can see it has Postgres, it has Supabase, it has almost anything that you get off the shelf for your data stores. But this is kind of like the Swiss knife for n8n HTTP request node. This allows you to run almost any kind of like microservice architecture. Imagine if you have a system like this. That 2 million rows is sitting somewhere. Imagine if this is sitting inside .csv files. This webhook is going to a, let's say if you wrote a Python file there, a Python script. So the Python script is reading all of those items. It is sending it through this webhook. And then after this, there is, after all these logical workflows that you're doing, then there is another Python script here, just making an arbitrary example. And that Python script puts it back into a Postgres, for example. So you can now imagine how this thing can work. Like, or maybe this Python script also calls another n8n workflow in the process. So you can extrapolate based on that logic that your n8n workflows can go back and forth to the workflow, back out of the workflow, and you have, imagine if this is a TypeScript backend service. So you have one script running here, one script running here, and all your workflows inside in here. And then it basically is going in a combination of all of those above things. Yeah. Yes, please.
Can you explain a bit at like a high level how to nodes for AI automation?
Your question is if I can explain AI automation nodes, AI agent nodes? Yes. So let's take that example from here. Like, what is an AI agent? I'd like to. This is a part of the workshop content. What is an AI agent? By a show of hands, you guys can explain, and then during this explanation, I'll answer your question. What is an AI agent node? And usually, an AI agent node looks like this. It has these three little features or attributes, and these three little attributes, I'll add them as I go on, and it looks really nice like this. It has a tiny little extra thing in it, but a workflow comes to this, and then it has a workflow that it goes out from. So now, in order for me to explain what is an AI agent, I want you guys to participate and tell me what is an AI agent. Anyone with any definition that you have in mind. What is an AI agent?
Something that is executing the task.
Something that is executing the task. Okay? Executing task. Anyone else wants to? Yes, please. Without a human interaction, so autonomy, agency. That's a very good point. Yes? An assistant. AI agent is an assistant. Assistant for doing what? Everything. Tasks, right? Yes?
And it has tools for that. How is context?
Good. It has tools. Yes. Okay, tools. What are tools? What are tools used for an AI agent? Execute a specific task, perform a task. Function. Like the functionality of that AI agent is based on the capability of the n8n. The AI agent. No. Anyone else wants to define what is n8n? What is AI agent? There are two more things that I would like to know here. Memory. Yes, memory. Please go ahead. Use LLM. That's right. That's absolutely right. It's an important part of it. An LLM, or an intelligent model that can understand natural language. So that LLM is a very important part. What else makes an AI agent? Context. Yeah, context is an important part. An AI agent should know the context of what is happening. Like in that context, it has to have like a prompt. It has to have like an instruction. That LLM call needs to have an instruction. Yes? Anyone else wants to join the definition of n8n? Yes? A database? A database can be a tool. So when I talk about tools, I can add more tools here. So I can have like multiple tools. I can have like a database sitting here. For example, this is a database. That is basically a tool that's connected to my AI agent. You're right. But this tool can also be a Gmail, and this tool can also be a Google Sheet, and so on and so forth. What is an LLM in here? An LLM can be ChatGPT, for example. So I can have like a ChatGPT here. Usually the notation that is used here is a circle. So I'm going to call it OpenAI, for example, or ChatGPT. Exactly, memory. Memory is a very, very crucial part of that. So the memory part is this one. So every single AI agent out there can or may not need to have a memory, but it is something that will definitely be beneficial for your AI agent. If you're building an AI agent that is learning over time, that's very important, because if an AI agent is not learning over time, that means it doesn't have a memory, or it's not capturing from its learnings. What could be an example of memory? Supabase, vector database, yeah. But an actual application of that, that's the tool that we can use in order to give memory. Yeah, the example could be that you have an AI agent that learns about your behaviors, how you write things. For example, you build an AI agent for yourself to produce LinkedIn posts. Over time, it will become better in writing LinkedIn posts for you in your style. And that's the memory part. Every single time that you write a new post, the way you write your punctuations, the way you write your LinkedIn posts is what matters. And that's basically how AI agents run. And from this dropdown, please click here. So we arrived until here. So by show of hands, who is right now on this screen? Okay, so 50%. We have a lot of people left behind. I'm gonna explain everything again from scratch, okay? So you probably are here where you see this little red cross. Double click that. And then from this drop-down menu, please click on Create New Credentials. Once you do that, then you see this Sign in with Google. When you see this Sign in with Google, you don't see that? By show of hands, who do not see the Sign in with Google? Okay. Can somebody support here from the n8n team? Anyone who knows n8n, there's only 2 or 3 people not seeing this button. If you guys can support here, please. Yeah. Self-hosting, yeah. Yeah. Okay, for those of you who sees this, please click this and then authenticate the Google, the n8n cloud on your on the permissions that it's asking. Click on continue. And then you should see the successful message, connection successful message. And it is important to connect the Google account where you made that Google Sheet earlier. If you remember, we made this Google Sheet where we had these little fields. Make sure it's the same Google account. Now, in this list, you should see that Google Sheet that you have created. In the list where it says document from list, please click that exact one that you have selected or created before. Click on users, and then from here, select sheet 1. And then it automatically gives you this map each column manually. Now, the next step is drag and drop all these fields as the arrows suggest. So the next step is drag and drop all these fields so that you see a screen something like this. All right. By show of hands, who could not come here right now until this level? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people are stuck. 5. You're good? Okay. Okay, now if you click outside and save the field, and please pay attention here, you'll see now the actual workflow in action. What it does is when I click on execute, please look at the screen before you execute it for yourself, so I can explain some concepts here, and then you can explain it, you can experience it yourself. So when I click on this execute, right now it's running here. In a minute, it will dump all of that here, as you saw now. So what happened was that a lot of data was captured from this, and then it came here. We picked certain fields, like 2, 3 fields, And then we executed on this node, which kind of like went in a loop of 10 times once the entire data processing was done, and then it put all the data inside this Google Sheet. Now there's a very important concept here that I would like to drag your attention to, is that you saw that I'm going to run it one more time so that I can explain this, because we are getting into the loop feature. Like we are going to do the loop, but you need to know why do we need the loop. So if I execute it again, you'll see nothing happens here, and then at once all of them comes in one go. The reason is because you have one node that is working on dumping all this information. Imagine if you are sending an email, you want to particularly in every single iteration change something or customize something. So that's when you need a loop. All right. So let's go to the loop example now. By show of hands, who do not have this experience of seeing the data in their Google Sheet? Nice. So we have like 99% of the room doing it. Only 1-2 people. We'll come maybe during the break. We can check this. Please.
Sorry, could you please repeat why we need loop?
I will. I didn't start yet. I'm explaining it now. Okay. So now the requirement here is that I want to add one item per row. Actual examples could be like you can customize things. You can have separate API calls happening for every single row. You can have ChatGPT calls happening separately for every single row. Those are the good examples. So now I'm going to break this particular workflow by doing it like this. I just drag it on one corner, press on this delete button, and then the connection between these two are removed. So you have to click on this delete button here. Click on this delete button so that the connection between the two is detached. Now we're going to bring a node called loop. Now click on this plus sign, and then in here write loop. Loop over items split in batches. Once you do that, leave the batch size 1. That means like in every single iteration, pick one item from the bunch of items you have. How many items it has? 10 items. So it will run basically 10 times. So one item at a time. It keeps picking one of these items, run it, the second item, run it, and so on. So the loop looks something like this. It has this replace me node. It has this loop node. What you can do is delete this link between loop and replace me, and then bring this node in the middle of the two, and then pick the loop item, not the item that is done, but the loop, bring it and then attach it to this Google Sheet, and do the same thing on the other side. So basically what you have done in here is you encapsulated this n8n Google Sheets node inside this loop. So what happens now is it has this 10 items. You can see that it has these 10 items, right? It picks one item, it goes there and then saves it. Once it's done, then it will come back and it start this entire cycle again. It saves one item at a time in Google Sheet. And if you save it, and let's go and delete these items and execute the workflow, and we hit the rate limit again. Yes, what's the question? Can you be a little bit louder, please? Yes, I will explain this one more time. So the way the loop works is like this. You have one node that basically takes multiple items from the previous nodes. In this example, 10 items, 10 rows. And then it performs that one action inside the loop, one per batch. How many items do we have? Is determined based on this batch size. You can change this number to 2, and then every single time it runs, it picks 2 items at a time from that list that you have. But keeping it 1 means that it will save 1 item at a time in Google Sheet. Instead of like waiting for 10 items to be processed and then save it in Google Sheet, it puts it 1 item at a time. Okay. So we're going to have a quick 20 minutes break now. Please do some good networking. You can come to me for asking questions. We're not going to let the live stream die. I will be available here. I'll not have a break, so I will go nonstop. And we can have questions. For questions, please come here. I'll put one camera for you. And then we can have questions. I can show you things on the screen so that our live audience do not go away. And we can go on. So the break starts now, and we're going to come back at sharp 6:30 p.m. So we'll come back at sharp 6:30 p.m. For anyone who has a question, please come to me. This area is entirely recorded and so on. You're going to be like, you can get the microphone and so on and ask me questions, and we can entertain, and our online audience can see this. And I will also put back the Vibe stage so that if there are some questions coming from online, I can see what are they. Okay, so can you send the Google? That is done. The doc isn't working. That is also fixed. Why edit this step is not being used in per first workflow? It's just to pick some fields. Hey, Netherlands. Yes, this is recorded. The link to YouTube is shared with you guys later on, but I will quickly go and share it again. So the YouTube is somewhere here. This is basically the playlist for this workshop. It's the official n8n, course that I've recorded. It has 18 lectures covering exactly the course content in here. So you can scan it from there. Or if you want to learn where to find it from, you can go to my website, emilsire.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn from here. And you can go to the YouTube right there. And then the YouTube is something like this, Agent Geeks. And then you can find these courses, all of these courses in here. So that's one course, this is another course, this is another course, and so on. Like, you can find all of them there. Alrighty, so let's go to the next question.
So my name is Ben, and actually recently I started to curious.
Can I get you something to drink?
No, I'm good. Like a water or something would be nice. Yeah, that's so nice. Thank you.
Just take it.
Yeah,
Just take it. Well, I was curious and started to dive deeper, so probably you hear about this trend, GTM engineering, and there are many jobs, GTM engineers.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly, I see this movement in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
and as far as I know, this software it's just part of that with Clay and with different tools.
Mm-hmm.
So so what do you think about it? This is just a starting question because
It's the future of programming. The so-called flowgramming is the future of programming. It's the natural flowgramming.
Flow. Yes.
It's kind of like you're going with like.
But is it hype or something solid? Because for me, this is a question because
it's not hype. It's a natural. It's a natural evolution of programming because let's imagine this like. if we, right now the code is generated by AI. AI is getting much better
Yes,
in coding.
yeah, sure.
Now, what is the best way to prompt a
Well,
flowchart? Like, if you want to tell AI what to do, the best way is to give it a flowchart. This flowgramming or this workflows, putting together, putting some settings,
yeah.
doing some code if needed, but mostly kind of like literally gluing things together and going with that flow of like creating workflows is a future evolution of this technology coming in. So it's just coming. It's around the corner. Maybe we can switch the camera and start there. All right, guys. So we are not going anywhere. We are still here, and I'm here with quite a few people. Please ask your question and then pass the microphone. I will answer anything if you have any question.
Okay. I'm just asking a question about. I am a data scientist.
Yes.
And I need to know how to use n8n
Okay.
in my pipeline
Okay.
to, in order to have something like continuous integration, continuous deployment. I find that it's not a tool for continuous integration, continuous deployment, but I'm looking at them. I find, for my own experience, I find that it can help me, but I don't know how exactly.
Okay, so I have a microphone.
Okay.
So the question is, how can I use n8n for CI/CD pipeline?
Yeah, exactly.
So n8n is not like Jenkins.
Yeah.
n8n is not like Versal or Actions on GitHub. It is a workflow automation tool.
Okay.
You could do things that you do in Jenkins with
Yeah.
n8n, because with n8n you can execute commands like literally SSH through a virtual machine,
Yeah.
and then you, for example, git pull,
Yeah.
get like run all the commands that you need to do, and then deploy. And you could use it like that, but I've never thought about that CI/CD side of it. That's a very good use case.
Okay.
Yeah, this could be done.
Okay, but it will replace Jenkins or.
I would say that using Jenkins for CI/CD is a good idea.
Yeah.
Not building a CI/CD pipeline on n8n, because with n8n it's kind of like you're SSHing through a terminal to a virtual machine or to whatever environment you are. Let's
Yeah.
say if you're doing it on Versal, then you're going through Versal CLI, or you're doing it through a cloud run and so on.
Yeah.
So it's a way around work. It's not exactly built for that. It's built for some more cooler things, which is kind of like gluing these other systems that you have together,
Yeah.
so that can run an AI automation.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. I have just experience in startups, but I still want to question, like, how is it better to implement, for example, n8n in the company? Like, it's better to start because I think it's kind of like a change management, change the culture, maybe to like start with the one project or just automate everything and show. So
Very good question. I think the way you automate something with n8n is pretty early in its time. Like because it's possible to automate almost everything, you should not automate everything, because if a project fails, then it's a failure of kind of like AI automation as a whole, not that there are a lot of bells and whistles attached to it. Therefore, pick the low-hanging fruit. What is a low-hanging fruit? Pick the most repeated task, the most boring task that can be repeated a lot. Yeah, let's do that. 1 minute left. So I ask everyone to come back at 1:30. So the API rate limit can be done with the hotspot, right?
Emergency. Yeah, there's a hotspot's open, so we should hopefully get,
Okay. How many hotspots we got?
I think it's just 2 right now.
Two?
So not
Okay.
everyone should go on it.
Yeah. I will also turn on mine as well. Yeah, I have.
Cloudflare lifted off limits.
Okay, so it should be good. Nice. Okay, we have got 1 minute. You have any? To close your question, like pick something that's so repeated, like in your organization that's so confusing and usually it comes from customer support because that's so repeated. People ask the same questions. It's already there on the FAQ page, but nobody goes and checks it. And you can pick something from there, enrich your tickets there. It's the best way to do it. Okay.
And also
So-
like sort of it's also I think it's also like have a one project that then show as I understand.
Exactly. One project, it's done. Then after that, the rest of them will follow. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you
Like
so
I'm
much.
gonna restart. Hi. These were the basic steps. I'm gonna explain this one more time. Once it runs, it basically takes one item at a time and then dumps it into that Google Sheet that we have created before here. You can see it is dumping it one by one, not all at once. The use cases for this could be enriching your CRM, picking one by one, and then doing some scraping on the internet, and then putting it back in CRM one by one. Therefore, the loop feature exists. So now we are going to go to the next workflow. So what I would like you guys to do is go to your n8n accounts, click on Create Workflow. From here, click on Add First Step, and in here, type type chat trigger, and then select chat trigger, and then click on Back to Canvas. And then you should have a trigger like this. I will do it one more time. Click on plus sign, click on chat trigger, and then click back. Meanwhile, I will also do one more small link. I will go to your Google Docs, please, the Google Doc that you have access to. And I will help you find out how to find it out. So on the YouTube, please pay attention. This is very important. With this approach, we can go much, much faster, especially if you're left behind. So right now, this show is being live streamed on YouTube. I'm going to share the link to this YouTube here. It's now copy-pasted in the Google Docs. So when I show us a few steps here, and you cannot follow exactly where did I click, go to this YouTube live session, and then take this head and then go backwards a little bit. You don't need to listen to it. Make sure you turn it off so that you don't disturb your neighbors. But you can play it, and then you can see that exactly what did I do there. It has like a 10-second or 5 seconds latency because of the live streaming. And this way you can go and get or find out exactly what steps to do. I would like to repeat this one more time, please. In the Google Docs that I shared with you guys, this Google Docs, I have pasted this live stream link. Open this, have it in a tab with you. And when I say like, go and apply this and this and this step, if you missed what I said, you can go back to the live stream and then take it a little bit backwards, and then you'll see exactly those steps be recorded, and then you can play it back. So basically, you need to take this little circle thing and then take it backwards like this. Like this, you can go back and forth, and you can see that all of that recording is already available. This way, you should be able to follow along much faster. All right, so let's go to the next step. We added this chat window. Now click on plus sign, and then in here, type AI agent. AI agent. Click AI agent node. And leave all the default settings. I'll come back and explain everything in great detail. Click on back to canvas. Click on back to canvas. You should see a screen like this. If you remember, we already covered this. Like we said, an AI agent has an LLM, a memory, and a tool. And here we see chat model, memory, and tool. So this chat model, click on this chat model, please. Click on the chat model. And then in here, type OpenAI chat model. Click on OpenAI chat model. And And here, click on Create New Credentials. Now you see that this pattern is emerging. It's coming as like a repeated structure. So click on Create Credentials. And then in here, you need an API key. You need an API key. I'm going to copy paste an API key right now for you guys here. The way you get an API key from ChatGPT is simple. You go to this link where you see a list of API keys. You click on Create New Credentials, and then you create a new API key or new secret key. Please make sure that you copy the entire text from Google Sheets without any spaces. Select it from here to here. Make sure that you don't copy this extra space. So it can happen that you do a small mistake like this. If you copy it like this, you see that you have selected a tiny little space as well next to that. So make sure that you don't do that mistake. You copy only this key. So copy that entire API key, and then go to this box, paste it there, and then click on Save. Once you click on Save button, you should see this green bar. Thank you. Now, if you go out, click on Back to Canvas. And here, now what we have done is kind of like a couple of weeks of web development knowledge embedded in this little flowgramming diagram. Now click on Open Chat and let's try it out. If you say hi, it's going to work and it says something. It says, how can I assist you today? Yeah. So I want you guys to come here and chat with it. By show of hands, who do not see a chat window like this, who could not create this experience? Yeah?
I could send a chat, but not see the response.
Okay. Can you see this integration like this in front of you? Can you see this open chat? Can somebody please help? At the back, in the back row. Okay, so what we have done here is very similar to this example that we have created, like with an HTTP request before. But now, in here, this n8n AI agent node under the hood has an integration with APIs. So we put an API key here, and now it does an API call to ChatGPT and then comes back with this response.
It works on the second time. You have to ask another question, and then we get what you see.
Yeah. For example, if I say, what is the capital city of France? The answer comes back, it says Paris. And this is basically the ChatGPT knowledge. Now let's go back and see a few settings. Here I can change the model. Right now it's running on ChatGPT 4.1 mini. You can change this to, for example, GPT-5. Here, GPT-5. Or other models. I'm okay with GPT-4.1 mini. It's faster, it's cheaper. And if you double click on AI agent, you can see that you can change things in here by clicking define below. Here you can write a so-called user prompt, which we will do in just a minute. And also from this option, you can select system message and you can write a system prompt here, which we will do in a minute. Don't do those changes. I just explained that these things exist. So we're going to keep them as it is. We'll go back. Now there's a very important concept that I would like to explain. please do exactly the same way I'm doing it here. Hi, my name is Amal. Your name is not Amal. Type your name. So just say, hi, my name is, use your name. So the message should go like this. Now if I send it, look what happens. It is greeting me. It says, hello, Amal. It's great to meet you. How can I assist you today? Now if I ask another question, this is a very important concept here. We're actually hitting two concepts in one example. And I say, what is my name? And if I send, look what happens. It says, I don't know your name. Now, this is the time that you need to understand memory and execution, those two concepts. So in order to know memory, let's first understand execution. So if I go to the execution tab, and I go to this list of all these items that has a timestamp on it, and if I click the last one, you'll see that in here, I said, hi, my name is Amal, and there was a response coming back from ChatGPT. And if I click here, it says, what's my name? And then it says, I don't know anything. So every single line that I see here, it is executed in that one go. So every single item is basically one context of its own. It basically creates one memory of its own. If you want to share this memory with this, like across these items, across these execution contexts, so that it can remember your name, you have to click on memory and then simple memory. Click on memory, simple memory. And then what it does here, it says like the context window is 5 last chats. So basically in the past 5 chat history, remember things from this chat.
Sorry, what did you click on for the memory?
For the memory, I clicked on the memory item here. So click on memory, and then sample memory, simple memory. So those are the steps that you need to take. Step 1, click on this plus sign. Step 2, click on simple memory. Now, if you leave the default settings, go back, you should see this other small item dangling here. And with this, you basically added a memory. You need to keep clicking on the save button right there. Now, if you type here, hi, my name is Amal, or your name, and then hit enter, you'll see it greets with your name, but you ask the same question again, what is my name? It remembers my name and it says your name is Amal. So it basically remembers the past 5 chat items. That's how we added a memory to our AI agent. Now, we're going to go and add a tool to the AI agent node, okay? The tool is going to be a Gmail inbox. So click on plus sign, same concept. And then in here, type Gmail, and then go to Gmail tool. And then from this Gmail tool, select the resource, change it to draft, create, and then click on this magic icon for both subject and message. So this should be draft. These items needs to be clicked so that it can automatically be defined or automatically be detected by the LLM itself. Okay. Now, yes? Yeah. So in order to add a tool, click on plus sign and then type here Gmail. Click on Gmail tools. From this list, select draft. From the subject, I see. So you need to create new credentials and authenticate your Gmail. Click on create new credentials and click on sign in with Gmail so that you can authenticate your Gmail inbox. Okay, now click on sign in and then authenticate your Gmail inbox. Click on continue. You should see a success message like this, and then eventually you should see a green check mark like this. All right. Now, if you go, you should see the list and then resource draft and then subject and message. By show of hands, who's blocked right now? Okay, one person. Okay. Can your neighbors see that? Correct. Thank you. All right. So now what you have done is you added a tool for your AI agent. Now we didn't do any setting changes. We didn't write any prompt. We added a tool because it's intelligent. It can understand your intent. Excuse me. It can already compose emails. So always click on the save button so that you don't lose any changes. Now in here, I would like to bring my Gmail inbox, my draft box, basically. So this is my email that I have authenticated. You can also do that. The current draft that you see is from before that I used and showed you guys. Now I want to create a new one. If I write something, can you please compose a draft email to Jane Doe and mention that unfortunately the program that we were talking about has to be canceled. It's rescheduled for next week, Tuesday, 3 p.m. Just making an example, sending it over. And you can see that now this particular node got this check mark. It means it was touched. Now, if we go to the Gmail draft, I should have one more. There we go. The program rescheduling notification is in the subject. Jane Doe is in the greeting line, and there is an actual email created. So that's how you could add something. Now, imagine if you want to add an email signature, like a website. For example, here I'm going to put emailsire.com. I always put in my signature emailsire.com. How can you do that? That's the system prompt that we can add. So click on or double click on this AI agent node. And then from this options node, select system message. And then in here, write that sign off my emails with the following email signature. And then write sincerely, emailsire, emailsire.com, or whatever email signature that you want to show.
But it hasn't created the whole circle went perfectly, but it hasn't created any draft.
Maybe the question is that it didn't create the email. It often happens that in your question, the intent is not clear. That create a draft email.Use those exact words. Can you please create the draft email?
So can you draft an email? It said, I've drafted an email. The answer was, I drafted an email.
Maybe the tool is not connected then. It doesn't have a tool connection. Double check if it has a tool connection.
Yeah, like
will not run the tool?
Correct. So
How does it know that?
because the definition of this tool is for creating a draft Gmail, create a draft in Gmail. And the parameters and everything, the API integration under the hood, it knows that I'm going to use this tool for creating a Gmail. If I'm asking a question that, what is the population of Paris, it's not going to create a Gmail. It's just going to go to ChatGPT and give me the population of Paris is 2.1 million people.
Because everything is getting saved in simple memory, then would the tone of your email change when I write the 5th email and it's actually...
That's a very good question. Very good point. The question is, will this simple memory influence the email that I draft? Yes, it will, but only if you are supplying that draft email here by editing it. But right now, this is a kind of like a vanilla ice cream. It doesn't have all the toppings. It's not a perfect workflow. So therefore, the memory, the 5-message memory that we have added here, let's say even if we do it 50 items, and the prompt that we do here depends on that. So this prompt, that can you draft an email? If we, instead of that, we say, can you draft this email? And then we write something. We say, hi, Jane. Unfortunately, as you know, I am blah, blah, blah. So you handwrite it, then yes, it will influence that email creation process. But if you're dictating it, it may pick all your wording, the way you do it, but then it goes through the LLM and it generates the actual email from the LLM. So
That is also can also be treated as a feedback.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Yes.
For the chat, can we do the rank? For example, I want to build a chatbot for insurance company, and then when the customer they ask a question about about their contract, and then it can search on the PDF in the contract and reply the email.
Yes, that's the question is like, can I put the PDF and then chat with the PDF? That's a totally different workflow. It's not exactly this workflow. Yes, that's possible. You can build such a thing with n8n. Okay, now we added this Gmail draft. With this, we came to an end to this particular workflow. There is one more feature to this, that is calendar, but it's exactly the same thing. And also, as a part of the tutorial that you can scan from this QR code, this is a tutorial, a very detailed tutorial about every single step that you can build with this particular workshop, like create these 3 workflows. You can learn almost every step that we went through in great detail in bite-sized lectures. And you can add a Google Calendar exactly the same way as we did here. All right. Now, let's go to the next step. So the way we added this AI agent was basically the very simple way of this. Now, I want to influence this a little bit more. If I want to, for example, add a tool, an extra tool calendar, and then I can also give it 2 commands at the same time. For example, I add a Google Calendar here, and then the same process. Create new credential, authenticate your Google Calendar, and then your Google Calendar is authenticated with n8n, and then you can create Google Calendar entries. So you should see a green check mark like this. Okay, I have my Google Calendar here. On 27th of October, I want to do some tests here so that you guys can see. I don't have any schedules there so that you don't know what I'm doing next week. Therefore, I kind of like went to the 27, 28. Now, in here, you should be able to select the Google Calendar entry, and the start date and the end date can be picked by the LLM by clicking those buttons. And additionally, I would like to pick the description and the summary. Those two are the two fields that goes on the Google Calendar entry. If you have all those set up in place, and one very, very important part is that you need to tell the LLM that what date is today. So before doing anything, let's refresh the page, kind of like have everything running from 0, and ask the LLM what date is today. And you'll see that it tells you that today is June 22nd, 2024. Anyone knows why it's so? Yes. Yes. It was trained on this day. That was the so-called cut-off date of the LLM, the ChatGPT 4.1 mini that we have add settings in here. Now, how to fix this is that you need to go in the AI agent, and then in the system prompt, you say today is, or right now it is, just type right now it is, and then click on expression. When you click on expression, you're basically changing this text box from being a fixed text to something that can be translated into code. And if you put these curly brackets twice, you'll see this little pop-up window opening here. And then in this list, you see this now. Click on now. And then and right here, you can see that this now is translated into a full date and time format in here. And that's how we tell the AI agent that, hey, look, right now it is 25th of September, 17th, it's 6:59 p.m. And we are in this time zone +20. Now, if you ask the same question again by clicking on this little tiny arrow, you can reiterate the same question, and then it will tell you that today is September 17th.
Sorry, how do you show up with the now function?
So you double click that, you change it to expression, and then you type here with double curly brackets, and then you go back and forth, and now. Okay. Now, in this case, if all the wirings are done properly, I should be able to do a calendar booking. Can you please book a meeting for 27th of October at 3 p.m. with Chris? We will be talking about the n8n Advanced Crash Course. Now, it is executing that. You can see that it hit the Google Calendar. It created this calendar entry. It is a meeting with Chris with a description about what I have just spoken on the microphone. Now with that, we are reaching to the end of this second workflow. The third workflow I'll start in just a few seconds, but before going there, I'd like to explain how this third workflow works and what is the method in there. I'll give you guys a few seconds to finish this Google Calendar entry. All right. So now, from now on, so it's 7 o'clock, we have another hour to go. The entire next hour is not hands-on, so please pay attention. The next hour is not hands-on because the amount of configurations, the amount of steps that we need to produce in order to put this workflow that we saw earlier, the Mistral AI workflow, this workflow, it's an advanced workflow. The purpose of this workflow here is to show you what's possible with n8n. And I will still be doing it step by step, and I explain everything. Not only I will explain it, but the slides that I showed earlier where you scan the QR code, that also already has all the steps, like these slides. If you haven't got this yet, this is your chance to scan it, or it's also sitting in your email already, where you can see the tutorials, step-by-step tutorial on how to build this workflow. From now on, I'll repeat this again, it's not hands-on. We will not do hands-on. Please close your laptops and pay attention and ask questions at any minute of this hour that we're going to do. We're going to build this entire workflow from ground up, like literally from zero to the level when we get there and we build things. And 1 hour is a lot of time for building this workflow. Therefore, I highly encourage you guys to stay super engaging with the next hour with me. Ask me questions, stop me, because otherwise we can finish much faster. All right, so let's go to a totally clean new workflow. What we're going to build here is a very simple yet very useful workflow that I personally use it all the time. Like, you guys saw this particular demo that we did. Do you need your slip back? It's on the table. We're gonna build this workflow that we use this kind of a slip. We scan it through Google Drive, and then it will scan it. It will extract some text from it. I'll put it on a Google Sheet as we saw it in the demo. So let's do that. The very first thing we need is a phone, yes, to scan the thing. And then inside your phone, you need Google Drive software, it's like that. A Google Drive integration, integrated with your Google Drive. That's a simple and easy thing. And then Google Drive has like this little scan feature. If you press that, it's basically a camera that allows you to scan documents. That's how the PDF is uploaded on Google Drive. Now, the trigger of this workflow is different trigger. This trigger is a Google Drive trigger. And this is we are not doing hands-on. The hands-on session is over. Please close your laptops. If you're following along now, you're probably gonna hit blockers, because this particular workflow is not for hands-on. It is for showing you what can be done with n8n. This is an actual workflow that I'm personally using, and it has an actual use case. It's not just like a tiny workflow where we take some data from an API, put it back in a Google Sheet. It has a real world use case. So it's kind of like a show of n8n what can be done. And once you learn this, you already have the material, the tutorials on how to do this. And also this current session is being recorded on that live stream. You can also watch exactly this recording and then do it by your own at home. Thank you. So click on the, my mind is kind of instructing you guys in a way that you should do it. No, don't click on anything. So you need to put on like this trigger, and then this trigger basically does so-called long polling. What is long polling? It says like pull every minute. What it means is it basically calls Google Drive APIs to, hey, give me the new files if there is one. every minute or every hour or every day or every week and so on. So from which folder do you want it from? I'm gonna pick the trigger changes in a specific folder. The specific folder is invoices, and watch for a file created. So I will see if there was a file created for me, then just trigger that. Now if I click on fetch test data, you'll see that some sort of data is coming in here, a lot of data. This is in JSON format. And if I switch it to schema, and if I scroll down, you see there are some information here. And as a part of all of that, you see here some URLs like web content and web view. If I copy this URL, paste it in a new drive, you can see it's a PDF actually. It's the PDF that I have scanned previously. So that PDF is coming in the workflow. Now, with that trigger, I pulled the latest scan copy in this workflow. You can see that there is one item added in here. That's nice. Now, I need this in a so-called binary file. Why? Because I want to send it over to Mistral AI. And Mistral AI's API integration is in a way that it says, send me the file in binary, kind of like in PDF, and then I'll make sense of it. I'll send you some text back. So for that, you need to use this node called download file in Google Drive. There are certain options or actions that you can take on a file, and the one that you can use is called download file. Now, if you take this and leave all the default settings as it is, and download the file by ID, and then this ID is sitting right now in this data that we are fetching. You can also search here like this. For example, if you remember, we had this web view container and so on. You can search it like this. You can see it. Or like this in ID, and the ID that you're looking for is this one. It is sitting literally on the top in this here. You drag and drop this, and if you click on execute, you should see the file in a binary format. You can see this is a PDF file. It has a file size, and there's a download button. If you click it, you see it is downloaded on my computer. And if I open this file from my downloads folder, it is basically that PDF file. So the workflow now has access to two basic nodes. One node is that it is triggering every single minute and checking for new files. If there was a new file, then it downloads it. Downloads it where? In this workflow, in the context of this workflow. So that the next steps that we're going to build will be able to do something with that PDF file. So now we got a PDF file in this workflow. What do we do with that? So the thing now we can do with this PDF file is very simple. We have a simple use case where we're going to send it over to Mistral AI. Thankfully, we have a native integration for Mistral AI. So if you type here Mistral AI, you can see that this is one of the 1,000 integrations that n8n comes with. So you need to click here on this plus sign, type Mistral AI, and then from here, you can select Mistral AI, and then it has certain settings. Almost all of these settings as it is can be used because the field that Google download file gives us is called data, and the default setting of Mistral AI's extract text is also data. So all the settings comes off the shelf exactly the way we want. And also the OCR model is there. Now if I click on execute step, it basically takes that one file, sends it over to Mistral, and then it comes back with this so-called markdown data. So you can see here in the markdown data, it has all what was inside this text, this slip, but in a text form, all right? In a text form. This is how these OCR technologies work. They don't yet give you, we need to make sense of this piece of text and then extract the information that we need. What information do we need? The invoice number, where is it from, and what is it about, and so on and so forth. All right, so now a quick recap. We integrated a trigger on Google Drive. We downloaded the file, and then we send that file to Mistral AI, and then Mistral AI give back some text to us. Now, what do we need to do next? The next step is to make sense of that text. The text that we have coming from Mistral AI needs to go to an AI agent. An AI agent can now do certain things with this. What are those things? Now, you saw earlier that we can change system prompts from here, and also we can define a specific user prompt. I'm going to define a specific user prompt here, and I already have the prompt. I'll copy and paste it here. The prompt just says one thing: you are an expert accountant and analyze invoices. Here is the invoice you should be analyzing, and it basically picks that markdown that is sitting there, and it's the way that you can see it. And then the rendered output is something like this. So basically, what goes to ChatGPT is this piece of text. If you analyze this, then you're good to go. That's basically the role definition, the prompt engineering we're doing right now here. And the system prompt needs to be also given. I have the system prompt here. I'll just copy paste it to reduce the complications. And the system prompt is giving some examples, especially examples over, this is the entire system prompt. Especially in Germany, we use this like commas and dots for decimal points. It's explaining how this should be done. So 1.1 should be done like this, and so on. So it's kind of like a very simple system prompt. And now if I execute this, it says that I don't have any chat model. That's right. I need to add a chat model here. I will add ChatGPT 4.1 mini. That's fine. Now if I execute this, you can, okay, save it. Execute the entire workflow. What I should see here is, okay, let me quickly see what is the chat model saying. That is correct. Oh, I see. So the system prompt, here we have added an item. It has to be something like this. Now, when you run this, it runs and performs in a very basic manner. It sends a request to ChatGPT. It says, hey, this is the text I got from Mistral AI. Please try to analyze this. But we didn't say what to do with it. We just said analyze it. And therefore, you get back again this big blurb of text. I don't want this big blurb of text. I want an actual extracted pieces of text so that I can put it inside that Google Sheet that I have. So the Google Sheet I have looks something like this. I'm going to bring it here. Give me a second. So the Google Sheet I have is something like this. It has receipt number, from, invoice date, purpose, and so on and so forth. Now, what I would like to do is extract exactly those fields, these fields that I need from here. How do I do that? In AI agents, there's a toggle button called require specific format. I click that. Now you see that I have one new item here. Besides memory and tools, I have output parser. So output parser can get a structured output parser. In this box, again, I give an example of what kind of an output do I need. And that output is just a sample payload. I have it here. I'm going to copy paste it just to save time. But what it does is it says that, hey, I need a receipt number, a from, invoice, purpose, amount, currency, and a short description. And this is how it might look like. These are just the examples. So with this one JSON, I give an example to the LLM that you need to produce it like this. Now, if I run this again, what it's going to do is it will emphasize to the LLM that when you're giving me back the response, don't give it back to me as a blurb of text, give it back to me as a JSON, as a structured data. You can see now the invoice number is 109064, 109064. Yep, invoice number 109064. And from is this cafe and invoice date and blah, blah, blah. So all of that text that came as unstructured like this, it was a blurb of text. Because of this feature that we have called specific output, I could get this kind of a structured data out of it. And now the next step is super simple. You already know how to do it. It's a Google Sheet integration. From workflow number 1, if you remember, we had this API dumping all of the information back to Google Sheet. Now we click on this plus sign and then Google Sheets. I will choose append row in sheet. And then I'll select the sheet that I want to put this in, my travel expenses, the actual sheet of that, and then the mapping. It's simple as that. Drag and drop all these mappings. The purpose, the amount, the currency, and a short description. And where does the link to file come from? Like this link so that I can click in and open it. It is sitting inside the Google Drive trigger. Or you can also type here web view and then you have it. I can drag and drop that link here and I'm pretty much set. Now, you can see here I have 2 items. If I click this entire execution, it downloads the file in the canvas, sends it to Mistral AI, picks it, sends it back to ChatGPT, processes it, extracts the exact data, and then puts it back here. And there you see another row added with all the data that I need. And that is the end of workflow number 3. And this should have given you some idea of what can be done with n8n.
Can you show again how did you input the link of the,
yes.
the scan?
So the link of the item here is sitting inside another item. So it is sitting here or here in these 2. Okay. And I'm using it right here. This is a very good concept to understand. Like, as the workflow progresses from left to right, it remembers from the previous states. It keeps a memory of that. So I need the link from a few steps before. I go to schema, I collapse this one, I open the one in here. I search here web view because I know it's called web view link or something. I take it and then drag and drop it to the link to file field and then release it, and then that's how it's done. So it basically, this particular node picks a lot of information from AI agent node output and then one information from this output. So it goes something like this. One information goes from here, the other information goes from here. So that's a very, yes, please. How did I parse the markdown? That's the question. How did I parse the markdown? So if I open this, you can see the markdown coming from here, from Mistral AI text extract, is cleaned up like this. How is that done? It is based on this user prompt where we say like, hey, you are an expert, your role is an expert, and you have to analyze this markdown. But what should be analyzed, what should be extracted is based on this toggle button. If I turn on this toggle button, which says require a specific output format, and then I go to the AI agent node, you will see that I have output parser now. And then in an output parser, I can add a structured output parser by giving it an example payload, an example JSON file. Based on this example, the LLM will generate the output like this. You see, it's the same example or similar example, but in this case, it's not that John Doe, Jane Doe example that is in the output parser, right? And here, you see it is John Street 23 and so on, Berlin, Germany. This is just an example.
The fields are the same, right?
The fields are the same. Based on that field, exactly, it needs to be the same, and therefore LLM remembers that, okay, I'm going to put this kind of a structure, and I will extract the pieces of information from there and then fill it in this field structure. And therefore now we see, instead of like John Street and stuff, we see it like the full information there. Yes?
How do we ensure that model will interpret markdown to our fields in exactly the same way it do like every time, a consistency?
The models today are even like, this is a very, very simple model, like 4.1 mini. 5 is much better. 5 is slower, expensive, but this does the job. How it understands is based on this output structure. Under the hood, are you a programmer? Can I use some terminology? So under the hood, it is using function calling. Same way as we do function calling, we give metadata to the ChatGPT API call. That's what's happening here. But you can also define this as a JSON schema. So you can send an entire schema, like literally, this is my metadata, this is field is a string, this field is a date, this field is a number, and so on. And then it will respect and use that. So under the hood, it's doing the same thing what we do as programmers. And it's just programming, not programming, the natural evolution of programming. Yes?
Sorry.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. Yeah?
What's the difference between the prompt and system message?
What's the difference between prompt and system message? So system message is more for the overall agent information, like the instruction that you want to give to the agent. And user prompt, or this prompt, is for the interaction that's happening between the agent and the user or the next workflow. So if it's, imagine if you are building a chatbot that is an HR manager reviewing CVs and screens, every single CV coming will go to this prompt or instructions for that particular execution. And then the general role definitions and everything will go to the system prompt. Yeah, there were, yes?
The first one was around the data itself. You mentioned that you can at any node you can pick up the data that you had at the output. Would that remain the same?
Since you have 2 questions, can you please use this microphone then? So that the online audience can also hear.
All right. So the question is essentially that as we could essentially use the data from previous nodes, the output that we had at any given point, would that remain the same if we add like a loop in the system, or that would not change? So if I had a loop there instead, would I still be able to access the data in the first
That's a very
node?
good question. So you say that we use the link in here, which was coming from here.
Yeah.
But if this was inside a loop,
Yeah.
would I still be able to do that? Yes. So
Okay.
it's building the context over time.
Got it.
And if it is a loop, the previous node's context is available down there to the rest of the.
Got
yeah.
it. And
Second?
the second question on the system and the user prompt itself, what has precedence usually if the user prompt does something that is
Contradicting.
contradicting? So what gets the precedence?
I see that. That's a good question. I've never been asked about. Like, if the system prompt and the user prompt are contradicting, that's bad prompt engineering. You should not do that. But in prompt injection, it can happen that the user is sending the data.
Exactly.
It is kind of like inversing
especially in the previous example that we had in the chat itself.
Yeah.
So you can put like, okay, do not give out this kind of information. But if the user or the chat is doing smart prompting,
Yes.
they could essentially get
Yes.
that information back.
The system prompt, I think, will have a higher precedence because it is on every single call goes as like, are you a programmer as well? You're not?
Yeah,
Okay, but every API call that goes on in the in the chat API or completion API that of OpenAI, it goes as a separate prompt. In chat S3 goes like entirely, like as a separate thing. So the number of vectors going towards the system prompt is more than the actual chat S3. So therefore, the preference, I think, will go to the system prompt.
Got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there was another question. Yeah, you have a long question or a short question? Maybe you can take the microphone then.
My question was about the use of Mistral. You've used Mistral in this case, but is that interchangeable with any other LLM?
Yes.
And is the selection based on cost? And are there any that are more expensive than others in terms of all the calls?
To be honest, this is an educational content. I didn't really optimize it for cost and stuff. I loaded 10 euros or something on my Mistral. And we did like a lot of travels lately because we're every week in a new city doing the same workshop. And you can imagine when you're traveling how many receipts you're producing. And still I haven't checked. They're like cost for the LLM right now is a matter of if you're comparing cost to what. So for example, in this case, if I'm not doing it through this workflow, what's happening is basically I am keep punching this all by myself. So if I keep punching this all by myself, it's taking a lot of time. But if you're counting, let's say I charge on 100 euros an hour or 200 euros an hour, my time versus the amount of time that I spend on the cost of the LLM.
But between the LLMs, is there a big difference or doesn't?
It's kind of like they're really competitive. So that market is competitive. For example, if you're switching between Mistral AI's OCR to document extraction by OpenAI, the actual cost differences I don't know personally from the top of my head, but they are really competitive. Like if you're doing it for hundreds of thousands of documents, it's a different situation. But yeah. Any other? Yes.
For the OCR,
can you?
For example, if we want to do the audit, and then for the OCR, the accuracy is very important. And then which model for the OCR works better?
Mistral AI's OCR is really good, especially even like it doesn't do the old school OCR like optical character recognition. It also has contextual awareness to the document that you're scanning. For example, you can scan a pie chart, a diagram, a bar chart, and upload a PDF, and then it can explain what is on the scanned document.
Okay.
So this was a very simple example where I scanned this entire slip, but the complex examples could be like, hey, explain this slip. What is it? Is it a cafe or things like that? So it's more it comes with metadata. So the OCR of Mistral AI is much better.
And for the
like what about the language? For example, like there are different language with the recipe. Like in France, is a French or English, and then is Mistral AI also good for different
Multilingual.
multi-language?
These LLMs are all multilingual, so they can switch on the fly the language of their scannings. Yeah.
Okay. And for the output, because to do the audit, that right now the text is like we select each one, and then is there some package that can output directly in the format for the accounting standard accounting format, like IFRS for the entry?
So that particular use case depends on the workflow. So if you have a workflow that is kind of like setting in a way that, for example, it has like multiple steps, sending it to an accountant for an approval, and then doing some database entry. It's totally business logic of the workflow itself.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Next question. Yes.
Is n8n beneficial for mobile app development? Is there a package available to call directly to our instances of these workflows?
Can you please paraphrase your question? Is n8n, does it have a package for mobile app development?
Yeah.
I don't understand the question.
Like to have integrated app with calls to our workflow and trigger from mobile app workflows.
Oh, I see what you mean. So can I build a mobile app that can trigger a workflow from my phone? Yes. So imagine if you're building a mobile app, let's say using Expo, React Native, and it has a button. In that button, when you click it to trigger the workflow, it runs over a so-called webhook. I have explained this webhook earlier as well. So that webhook becomes the API call to that button sitting inside this webhook thing. And then this URL becomes the endpoint for that workflow. And then your mobile app is communicating with the backend n8n workflow, and then the n8n workflow is communicating to whatever workflow automation that you have done under the hood.
I'm just curious, is there any additional integrations on top of mobile like sensors, for instance, which will trigger action?
Mobile sensors, like a kind of like an IoT device? What do you mean by mobile sensors?
Like, for instance, we have triggers like email coming to us, but on mobile, for instance, we have push notification. And the package, like n8n package, could be listening to push notification service and trigger, and it could have it inside the package.
Yeah. So if I understand your question correctly, you have a push notification whenever something happens. For example, it's a meeting canceled. It's a push notification that goes to the users on their phone, and at the same time, a workflow is triggered on n8n.
Yeah. Kind of.
The same concept. The webhook. It's just one API call that goes to the FCM, the push notification service, for example, the Firebase cloud messaging, or any other messaging that you're using. And then at the same time, it goes one API call to this webhook. And that's how you can trigger these push notifications.
Sorry, just one quick question.
Yes,
regarding loops, I didn't really understand how they works, but it looks to me like it's kind of pagination.
Exactly. You can kind of compare it to pagination. When you do pagination, what you're doing is like you're pulling 10 items at a time from the database. In case of loop, it's the same thing. You have a pile of information coming from one side of the workflow. You want to pick it one at a time and then work inside that loop based on multiple nodes. Why? Because, for example, you want to do one API call per item. For example, you want to put since this was a question from a bunch of other people, I would like to emphasize on this a little bit more. So here, for example, if I have this Google Sheet, let's go with the same example. So if I have this this item, this user, and these users have like 10 items, right? Now imagine if I want to do a ChatGPT call, and if this is not 10, this is 100 items, and I want to send 100 ChatGPT calls. That's not possible because of API rate limits. And what I will do is I'll put a loop here. I'll say, okay, I'm going to do a ChatGPT call here, like this. I will put an AI agent, and there will be an OpenAI integration here. And the OpenAI integration will have this one. Now, as soon as this is processed, before sending it back to the next loop, I want to do a quick break. So there is a wait limit, and I will do 5 seconds of a break so that it doesn't touch the API limit. And then after that, I want to continue like this. This is a very concise example of loop. The reason I'm looping is because these 10 items, imagine if that's 100 items. I don't want to hit 100 times every second, like the next 100 seconds. I don't want to send 100 requests to ChatGPT because ChatGPT has certain policies that it says don't send me requests so frequently. Otherwise, what happened earlier with the whole room sending requests to n8n and n8n rate limits reached, the same thing would happen with your API calls, because this API call is using an API key here, and that API key as a contract level limit that every single API key can send only X amount of API requests to ChatGPT servers in order to avoid abusing the system. So this is a good example, like rate limits. Yeah, there's another question. Yeah.
So on the same topic, how can you manage the context window? You know, is it going to be through loops or through other techniques?
How do I manage the context window? For those of you who don't know what's a context window is basically a way to limit the amount of information that goes to LLM. So when you ask a question from an LLM, you basically do, LLMs come with this so-called tokens, and a context window is limited based on the number of tokens that an LLM can process. And the question is, how can I limit the context window? You can put a check, an if condition. You can call an API for calculating the tokens, for example, tokenizer. And based on the number of tokens, then you can route your questions, for example, here. So imagine if here I want to put, right after this wait, I want to put a token. Let's say it's an HTTP call for doing the tokens. I'm just doing pseudo programming or pseudo programming. This is, let's say, checking the token size. So calculate token size. There's an API that does that. It gets everything. And then right after this, I put an if condition. And then I say a if. I'm going to move all of these things here. And then here I'll say if the token is greater than that, then do a Slack notification and say that, hey, there was, here, for example, like this. Do a Slack notification that the token size reached, so kind of like reach limit. And if it's not, then continue, something like this. So this is how you could calculate the token size, check if the token size is above the context window, and then either continue the loop or send a Slack notification.
And after your Slack notification, it will be stopped.
It will be ignored. That one iteration will be ignored because then it is not executed. Yeah. I have some more slides to go to. Any other questions before we continue to the slides and then we close the session? We have 19 minutes to the closing, and I highly recommend staying a little bit longer so that we can do some networking. I'll turn off the live stream, then I will be not going around with the microphones, although I will bring this camera so that I can capture some of your feedbacks. I can put it on a side and we can have like a quick round of feedback. What did you guys like? What did you not like? And we'll make a little back of the scene story, a video story for that. All right, so then let me go quickly to the slides and see what we have covered so far. So before we go on, we came a long way. Like we started with essentials, AI agents, automation, and the advanced AI agent workflow that we did, this Q&A that we are having now. What is next for you? The best place to start your work is on docs.n8n.io. And here you can find almost everything that you need in order to become a very good n8n expert. Then there is this AI assistant in your n8n. So wherever you go in your n8n workflows, you can ask a question directly from n8n. So for example, I am on this workflow. I have a question about this. There is this little button that you can click. And then this is kind of ChatGPT trained on n8n docs, and you can ask a lot of questions here and then resolve it. If you are coding, there is a code node. Inside the code node, there is this Ask AI. So you can literally ask AI in order to generate code, so that vibe coding is embedded in n8n already. And then there's this community of n8n, as I have mentioned before. I'm an n8n ambassador. I've been a software engineer for 23 years nonstop, and I've never seen any other community as strong as the n8n community. So you can see this is these two links. You can join the Discord channel, or you can go to community.n8n.io in order to get engaged with fellow n8n experts, ask questions, and answer some questions yourself so that you can become an n8n expert. And another resource that you can see is this tutorial that I have produced only for this workshop, which is consists of 18 lectures, each of them super small, tiny, super focused. You should be able to get all this content from there. And what you can build next week is a Gmail inbox organizer with the knowledge that you have now, a voice AI agent for on-the-go usage, lead enrichment pipeline for your CRM if you're working somewhere. The Gmail inbox organizer workflow could look something like this. A new email arrives, you pick it and classify it with an AI agent, apply a label, and then forward it, if it's an urgent, to a Slack channel or something. And the nodes that you will learn through this is Gmail trigger, if and switch, which we just saw earlier, AI agent that you already know, Gmail that you already know and did, Slack for notifications. That is also very simple to use. Another one that you can do is voice AI agent for on-the-go usage. I have a voice AI agent. I call. You can call my voice AI agent. It talks to you. It sounds so much like me. It's there on my website, emilsire.com, and it sounds something similar to. Hello there. How are you doing? I'm doing good. Can you say hi to this room full of AI agent enthusiasts?
Oh, for sure. I'd happily join and sit with those AI enthusiasts. It sounds like my kind of crowd. A room buzzing with excitement about AI agents.
So now that's a voice AI agent I built. It's my voice clone, and it has access to tools and so on. And I call myself. That sounds silly. And I do things like composing email, composing LinkedIn posts, and so on. And the workflow for that could look something like this: voice call, an actual phone call. This is also on a phone call accessible to me, because when I'm driving, then I can say, "Hey Siri, call Samantha." That version of it is a female because I called Samantha, and Siri is good enough to call a phone number. and then right after that, then it's entirely the workflow is with this voice AI agent. The keynotes that you can nodes that you can learn is 11 Labs. 11 Labs is a Polish company that allows you to build n8n workflows. You can take a phone number from Twilio, configure it there. It's all in a tutorial that I have created with 60 lectures that you can use. I don't have a QR code for that, but if you go to my YouTube channel and then go to playlist, in this one you can learn how to put n8n, this flashlight thingy one, how to put n8n and vibe coding and a bunch of other technologies together, 60 lectures. So in there, I taught how to integrate 11 Labs with n8n in a way that you can kind of create a voice call the same way as I showed from my side. So this, you can do it. And then you will learn a lot more. The HTTP request node, the AI agent, the Google Calendar, so that, for example, you can read your Google Calendar on the go with a voice call. Gmail, you can compose emails and so on. And even Google Docs for taking notes on the go. For example, you have an idea, you want to call that phone number that's connected through Twilio to 11 Labs, it talks to you, and then it takes your brain dump and then puts it inside a Google Doc through an n8n workflow. And that's all in that course that I have shared. For this particular one, this Google Docs, you can follow this tutorial, Google Docs. This one is entirely for Google Docs. It's using VAPI, another voice AI agent company, not 11 Labs, but it's a similar one. And then the next one that you can do is a lead enrichment pipeline. It's a little bit advanced. Once you get a little bit more into this world, then the workflow could look something like this. A new lead comes in, you scrape the LinkedIn or website about that lead, that person, that company, and so on, and then enrich it with AI, understand it more, extract the piece of information the same way as we did with this paper slip thing. Now you do it with a lead, a person or a company, and then you update your CRM and then notify a team based on a kind of like a new high quality lead that you have. And for that, you can go to this lecture. I did 17 lectures very recently, like 5 days ago. It is about lead enrichment, so you can learn from there. And then it comes to a lot of nodes that you'll learn in this approach, including some CRM updates and so on. And for HTTP requests, in order to get LinkedIn information, you can use Phantom Ambassador, Apify, Unpile, Relevance AI, and Firecrawl for crawling websites, for getting website information, and Slack for notifying the person who is responsible for that high quality lead that came into the pipeline. And based on all the learnings that you had today, I think you will keep building cool things. Don't forget to tag the n8n official page. Don't forget to pay the gratitude where it belongs by posting your cool videos, your cool workflows. As I said, it's an extremely focused, community-focused company. I highly encourage you to apply as an n8n ambassador. It's a program that we're scaling it to potentially 1,000 ambassadors end of next year worldwide. But don't fill the form just for the sake of filling the form as to become an ambassador. Do some community work. Like you see all of these people, these other ambassadors in this picture. They run n8n workshops in their own cities. Show some vibration of like kind of the vibrant communities, build a vibrant community, and I think that would be an amazing initiative that you can do and become an n8n ambassador. With that, I thank you so much for your patience. It was a very, very detailed one, and let's start the networking. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. live, folks. It was a pleasure. See you guys next time. Bye-bye. Bye.
Hello everyone, I'm Shuhan and I'm a student in Paris. Today I joined the workshop for the n8n in Paris. The point I really like is that they show the real workflow and some case study that we can to inspire us. For example, OCR for the invoice. And the thing I really like is we know the process can do one by one, but maybe next time we expect that maybe we can have the site first, and then we can kind of like a preview for the case study, and so during the process we can more focus on the details, and then prepare the question. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
UX designer and about user experience of this product. Cool, user-friendly, and patterns. And I'm really excited to use it, and I highly recommended it.
Yeah, it was a great event. It was nice to gather around and to have some hands-on experience. Beginning and also the possibilities and everything. So yeah, no, it was a great feedback.
Okay, thank you, Amar, for the session. This was great, fantastic. I learned a lot. As a product manager, I think this is a game changer for automation, automating workflows. It's really hands-on, quite easy to use. So this was great. Thank you so much.
All right. We are done with the official n8n starter session in Paris. The party started. I'm going to join a few people for more networking and start doing some more content.
I'm fine. How about you?
How was it?
Super nice.
Thank you. How was it?
Yeah, very inspiring, and I see a lot of potential, and I feel I'm ready to do more things to facilitate my, automate my process in life.
What's the first workflow you'll make?
Huh?
What workflow will you make next?
I'm thinking maybe for the search of apartment.
Oh, nice. Nice. Searching an apartment is a very nice workflow. Which workflow will you make?
Travel. Yeah, using n8n to travel, to plan.
I see. That's wonderful. Cool. Enjoy the networking, guys.
Hi everyone. So I'm at the n8n workshop, and I want to thank Amal for the great content he shared with us. I was watching the workshop in the taxi on my way here, and I was able to get going. So thanks for the attention to detail and for the different use cases you presented to us. And I'm looking forward to experimenting with n8n in the future. My space is cybersecurity, so I see a lot of interesting use cases in my day job. Thank you.
All right, guys, so here we go. The party is coming to an end. Amazing people, amazing conversations. I had quite a bit of cool conversations with a lot of n8n and AI automation enthusiasts. And I believe that this community is growing bigger and bigger as the days pass. And we are learning a lot from our n8n starter session workshops, and I'm super blessed to be running this. And so much for trusting on us. Thank you so much for all the online collaborations. This logo is amazing. Like, look, it was built on Fiverr, and and it's getting really cool that. I heard that this logo it stayed the same. Actually, I saw it as well. Januba also showed it in the n8n Fest. It stayed the same throughout all these years. So it's just about to start. The n8n extreme growth is just about to start, and I'm super happy to be kind of like on the forefront, taking this amazing technology to the world, one city at a time. And we're looking for even more people joining this ride with us, be it n8n ambassadors or be it this amazing community that we have here. Look at that.